Chapter 15 of the book Friday Night Lights was called the Algebraic Equation. And it begins by talking about the football program at Carter High School, an everyday school at Carter High School. Talks about two different players. Talks about a player named Gary Edwards, a player named Derek Evans. They were both star players on this Carter High School. And it talks about life at Carter High School. Football players basically got special treatment. They were allowed to do whatever they wanted, basically. They got grades given to them. There were, when they took a test, some of the players got answer keys. No players were going to be ineligible to play football. So one of the big controversies that happened was there was a player named Gary Edwards, who was one of the star players. He was in an algebra class, and the teacher's name was Will Bates. So Will Bates was one of these teachers that didn't want to go along with the program there, basically, and just give kids the grades. So he ended up failing Gary Edwards, who was one of the star players. There was a controversy about a grade. When Gary Edwards, the player, instead of coming to class and participating in class to get a grade that day, he went to a film session with a coach. And so there was a question on whether was he going to get a grade for that? Should he be marked absent? Someone anonymous caller made a call to the state to have them check into the algebra grade that Gary Edwards was given. And so if the grade that Gary Edwards was given was not legit, then he would not only be ineligible to play, the Carter High team would be eliminated from the playoffs and someone else be put into the playoffs. They would also have to forfeit a lot of their games. So a lot of lawyers got involved. This caused issues between blacks and whites. Basically, this whole situation ended up going to court. They ended up ruling that Carter would stay in the playoffs. There was a big controversy about it. They were going to play Permian High School. There was the coaches had to get together between Carter and Permian and the athletic departments and talk about where the game was going to be played, what were the referee crews going to look like. This was going to be a playoff game. The ticket situation, because there was going to be a lot of tension between blacks and whites at the game. You basically had Permian, which was predominantly white school, predominantly white town, and you had Carter, which was predominantly black school, and with a lot of black fans. They're going to play. They decide where they're going to play. They finally end up deciding they were going to play at the Cotton Bowl. They were talking about the Cotton Bowl, and Permian didn't want to play there because they felt like it would be just too easy for like a lot of the black community to make it to the Cotton Bowl. So they end up playing at Memorial Stadium in the University of Texas. Meanwhile, the big court hearing happened, and it was decided that Carter would stay in the playoffs. The teacher, Will Bates, would actually be taken out of Carter High School and put into a middle school. He was given an unsatisfactory evaluation, and he wasn't allowed to teach algebra anymore. And it says he wasn't allowed to teach algebra anymore so he wouldn't be able to give kids, football players, ineligible grades. So that's what kind of happened in this chapter 15 called the Algebraic Equation. Peace.